There are some phone calls you never forget. For me, it happened 3 days before Christmas. I was 21, away at college, and excited to finally come home after months of studying and working part-time. My car was packed. The gifts were wrapped. I had even bought my little sister the expensive headphones she'd been asking for all year. Then my phone rang. It was my mother. At first, she sounded nervous. Then she said something that made my heart stop. "Don't come home this year." I laughed, thinking she was joking. "What?" There was silence. Then my father got on the phone. "Your sister doesn't want you there." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Apparently, my sister had complained that family gatherings became awkward whenever I was around. She wanted Christmas without me, and my parents had agreed. "Just give her this one holiday," my father said. "It's not a big deal." Not a big deal. To them, maybe. But to me, it felt like my place in the family had just been erased. That Christmas, while my family opened gifts together, I sat alone in a tiny apartment eating instant noodles. I stared at the presents I had bought for them. And for the first time, I wondered if they would even notice I was gone. The Christmas invitation was never renewed. In fact, things only got worse. Every family decision seemed to revolve around my sister. If she wanted something, she got it. If she was upset, everyone rushed to comfort her. If I was hurt, I was told to be mature. When family vacations happened, I often found out through social media. When birthdays were celebrated, I wasn't always invited. Every time I tried to talk about it, my parents gave the same answer. "You know how sensitive your sister is." It became their excuse for everything. Years passed. I graduated, started a career, bought my first home. Not once did my parents attend any of those milestones, but they never missed one of my sister's events. Eventually, I stopped trying. I stopped calling first, stopped chasing attention, stopped hoping things would change, and strangely enough, my life became happier. Then, at 28, I met someone who changed everything. Someone who made me feel valued. Someone who loved me exactly as I was. 2 years later, we got engaged. And despite everything, I still mailed wedding invitations to my family. Part of me knew it was a mistake, but another part still wanted to believe. Maybe my wedding would be different. Maybe my parents would finally realize how much they had missed. To my surprise, they accepted the invitation. My mother even called. We wouldn't miss it. For the first time in years, I felt hopeful. Maybe this was our chance to heal. Maybe we could finally become a family again. As the wedding day approached, I imagined introducing them to my future spouse's family, taking photographs together, sharing memories, creating new ones. I wanted that more than I cared to admit. The morning of the wedding arrived. Everything looked perfect. The flowers, the music, the guests, the atmosphere. But 1 hour before the ceremony, I received a text message, and everything changed. The message came from my mother. Only 12 words. "We're sorry. Your sister doesn't feel comfortable attending anymore." I read it 3 times. Then a 4th. My hand started shaking. I immediately called. No answer. I called again. Nothing. Finally, my father sent a short reply. "We're staying with her. Family comes first. Family comes first." The irony hit me like a punch. Apparently, I wasn't family. At least not when my sister wanted something else. I sat alone in the bridal suite, staring at my phone. Years of disappointment came rushing back. Every forgotten birthday, every missed achievement, every holiday spent alone. The tears finally came, not because they weren't attending, but because deep down, I had believed this time would be different. A knock interrupted my thoughts. The wedding coordinator entered quietly. "Everyone is waiting." I wiped my eyes and stood up. If my family wasn't coming, then I would walk forward without them. The ceremony began. Guests stood. Music played. I walked down the aisle, and there they were. 3 empty chairs in the front row, reserved for my parents and sister. Empty. Just like every promise they had made. For a moment, the sight hurt. Then I looked around the room. My best friend was crying tears of happiness. My future spouse was smiling. My future in-laws were cheering louder than anyone. Every seat around those empty chairs was filled with people who loved me. People who chose to be there. And suddenly, the empty seats stopped matching. During the reception, I picked up the microphone. The room grew quiet. I looked at the crowd and smiled. When I was younger, I began. I spent years trying to earn love from people who never made room for me. Silence filled the room. But today I realized something. I paused. Love isn't proven by blood. It's proven by presence. Many guests wiped away tears, because everyone understood exactly what I meant. 6 months after the wedding, my parents showed up at my front door. They looked older, tired, regretful. My mother cried the moment she saw me. My father couldn't meet my eyes. "We made a mistake," he said quietly. I nodded, because that wasn't news. We all knew it. Then my mother whispered something unexpected. "Your sister moved away." For years, they had centered their entire lives around her happiness. And now she barely called, rarely visited, often ignored them, the same way they had ignored me. Life has a strange way of teaching lessons. We sat together for hours. For the first time, there were honest conversations, real apologies, no excuses, no blaming, just truth. As they left, my mother hugged me tightly. "I hope someday you can forgive us." I watched them walk away, and I realized something important. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means refusing to let old pain control your future. That night, I looked at my wedding album. The front row seats were still empty, but every other seat was filled with people who stayed, people who chose me, people who never made me earn their love. And in the end, those were the only seats that truly mattered.
Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a new emotional story. Your support means more than words can say, and it helps us continue bringing these untold stories to life.